Hey everybody, Utterly Pointless channel here again. Just a quick breakdown too for my new Purgatorian team. I had Zonti, I thought, powered up pretty well, but this Purgatorian team and some new creatures have just taken the amount of corpse explosions that get cast pretty much from turn one or start a battle in normal fights. They just absolutely wind up overwhelming pretty much everything. It is a little bit difficult to get a toehold in boss fights because one of the abilities takes the need to, it makes you essentially need to keep your spell gems down to 1. And I did put magnetic on a couple of those corpse explosions, but except for maybe a second spell gem that I got put in, it is corpse explosions, breakfast, dinner, lunch, brunch, supper, late midnight snack on this team. And because there's defense penetration, it winds up having a good long-term effect, especially with member after member of this team being equipped with defense penetration. So let's just do a quick breakdown. So we start off with Zonti again. So he's got his expanded power, which makes any amount of damage massive, which corpse explosion winds up being moderate usually. Final excretion, after an enemy dies, of course, the creature will cast corpse explosion. I do have an anointment from Trickster, so that will usually kill a creature on the enemy team right at the beginning of every normal fight. And while it does bring the boss's health down by 20%, that's not quite as helpful as it needs to be, but it does bring the enemies down on the boss's side to a level that it is easier to get a series of corpse explosions rolling. So again, we did have expanded power, final excretion, and then equilibrium is a really nasty trait. This creature deals additional damage with attacks and spells equal to 25% of the total damage the enemy has received in the current battle. So Zonti does deal a lot. I got him enhanced a bit at Gate of Gods with about 11 keys. I usually go for wins of about 5 to 6 emblems, just so I don't wind up losing my investment in the key and some time spent. But after is one of the great new additions to this team. This is, I call him Zontade, but this is the Valor Chimera, and the Chimera's ability is to give all my creatures the ability to attack and cast an extra time for each creature with the same secondary fusion fighting on my side. So if it's stacked, that would be utterly insane, but final excretion is the second trait for this character. Final excretion, final excretion, and final excretion. So this means that for every spell that we have, that's 6 copies that goes out. Every attack is 6 attacks as well. So there is a change I have to do to this artifact, I believe, right here. So that had final excretion on it. I don't actually need it. It was just an artifact that I grabbed because I was sick of leveling everything up right from level 10 or 15, just when I had a trait put in for an artifact, and getting it all the way back up to 50. So this is a little bit of a training wheel here. Lots of intelligence and spell potency to work with corpse explosions. So again, a legacy artifact for another team that I'd created. And relic is Mutatius, and that is up at level 40, so 10% more for this occultist here, who does have quite a bit of intelligence to start with. So that means more and more corpse explosion damage. But to wrap up here, again, final excretion, and then Vicha's surprise. After this creature is killed or resurrected, it casts its first spell gem 3 times. And there it is, corpse explosion. And then what I do is have this creature provoke, because Purgatorian does have an ability that grants 30% stats increases for all other creatures when your creature does provoke. So that comes in really handy, and it does make those corpse explosions fire off here. Zonte still has the record for about 80 million points of damage on a single creature that was unlucky enough to be left over. So with the Spellbinder Occultist, or Occultist Spellbinder rather, Phantasm makes all spells cast deal 30% more for each time they've been cast in the current battle. So that is a really sick acceleration. Again, when 6 of them are being cast in a single time or a single instance because of the Valiant Heart Chimera trait right here, it really ramps things up very quickly right before battle even starts. So after Phantasm, we have Final Excretion to boost up Valiant Heart right here. And then I do have Final Excretion here. That was the artifact that I need to unequip, so I'll do that in the future. Go ahead and retrait that, or just level something up again quickly. I got a good amount of Brimstone, and I was lucky enough to get 2 cards in one dungeon run very recently, so I had a 5% chance to get double resources off any breakable object. So very, very nice. And next in line we have the Tanukrook, which I almost can rotate out at the start of this creature's turn. All other creatures here get killed. So that causes corpse explosions everywhere because, and I was going to show this later, but one of the anointments that I've got is from the engineer, and that causes any creature dying here to cast corpse explosion. And again, with the Valiant Heart, it's just nasty amounts of damage, and there is a very, very good chance that at least one creature will be forced into the graveyard, and at that point, corpse explosions become even stronger because they're based on the number of dead creatures, and there'll be a lot of dead creatures on my side because of Tanukrook temporarily, very temporarily, killing them all to get its stats up. And the other sneaky thing about the Tanukrook that I did have in a previous video, but is still really amazing here, is that it's got this trait which causes it to kill my side, and then it lowers all enemy stats, or defense stats rather, by 50%. And that happens quite a bit with initial corpse explosions, usually, unless you're fighting a boss, because they just wind up not really taking much corpse explosion damage from their side for their dead creatures. But again, with Tanukrook killing your side. That is a bunch of very nice corpse explosions from all of these guys, with grand finale going off. So not only that, but the best part of the Tanukrook is he gives that trait to the enemies. So enemies do gain at the start of this creature's turn. And again, I do not have a Tanukrook Mimic mix here because I don't want him killing my whole team to start with, but everybody on the enemy side gets Monster Crown, so if that's a normal fight, boom, kills 5 of their creatures, or at least brings it all down to 1 creature. And so with that 1 creature, its stats are a little bit higher, especially in boss battles. That enemy will go ahead and kill its teammates, or it will try to kill its teammates and still get a stat gain. So that's a little rough to watch out for when you're fighting a boss, because you're basically buffing him with that ability, unless one part of that boss gets killed, or one part of a dungeon mini boss, one of the team members in the mini boss fight does get killed, then yes, you can go ahead and get your toehold and start doing ridiculous amounts of damage. But actually the dungeon mini boss fights don't have any kind of immunity to Monster Crown, so it really is just the boss fight where creatures or parts of the boss don't die as a result of that ability. So again, any creatures that are surviving at that point, or rather, actually, all those creatures or parts, I'm sorry to stumble this out, but I meant to say that all creatures or parts of the boss in the Lost God fights, they will each have Monster Crown, so they'll each be gaining stats, and that is where things do get rough. So having a Disc of Creation is a good thing, but the 50% damage reduction is super helpful once an initial part of the final boss does get killed. So and that is that's an ability that once it gets its toehold will just repeat and lower and lower and lower defense. So even if the offense that has been increased through that 30% bonus does add up, I mean, your creatures might get killed by those attacks, but they're always coming back. And that was another thing about this group that is really good, is the ability to just provoke, shake off your debuffs, buff all your team with 30%, and then from there just come back and no problems. I do have a cleric anointment in that will help resurrect team members, and then there is also the Ancestral Phoenix, where after creatures kill an ally, hint hint, all your creatures get resurrected with 50%. So that might be something a little bit better to use, by the way, for an anointment. I do have 5 gems per creature, and I really don't need that because I want each creature to just focus every single time on using Corpse Explosion. So really, I can take out Expanded Mind. So this is what I'll have in just a second. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, so I love proliferation. 30% more damage for each turn taken in battle. So this will just be offense, offense, offense. And if you take a look at my creatures, you're not going to see much in the way of spell gems. I mean, most of them, they just have a single spell. And that is because Memorial here for the Phase Champion is a trait that will make your creatures cast one of their spells at random. So you don't want to have much else besides Corpse Explosion. And again, they're all set up with defense penetration or ability to cast twice. So that really is the bread and butter of this. And as you'll see in the next video, I mean, this thing will just completely waste everything in its path. For normal fights, it'll take out one creature out of 6 immediately, set up 6 corpse explosions, and from there, just total chaos. Because after an enemy dies, 5 creatures here will cast corpse explosion, and that'll be a grand total of 30 corpse explosions being cast on turn 1. So it is filthy. So to get back to the progress here and the orderly listing of everybody's traits here, I'll continue with evocation. All creatures here have 35% more intelligence. And again, I did build Zonti up with a couple of Gate of the God fights. Always do remember that if you have an avatar and you're getting beat on, just go grab a whole bunch of keys and just divide it up between running for emblems in the avatar's dungeon, or just go ahead and scrap it out with them at about level 5 to 6, maybe higher if you're more confident. But yeah, get up to 100 emblems and just keep them, keep the avatar summonable. And you just do that by winning a bunch of little fights at Gate of the Gods. And in no time, you can use both their full mana and the 100 emblems to add a power-up to Zonti or any other avatar you got. So, after evocation, we have resilience aura here. This is a secondary way, actually a third way, tertiary for anybody critiquing this video, and thank you for being kind. So after an enemy dies, your creatures get resurrected with 50% health. And that ties in with Veech's surprise here, well worth the 50,000 brimstone. After this creature is killed or resurrected, it casts its first spell gem 3 times. So there's 6 times 6 corpse explosions. I think things are capped at like 16 per creature, unless you have 1,000 needles, which Zonti has equipped for 20 spells per turn or attacks. And after an enemy dies, of course, the final excretion is on this one. And that's actually something I want to add because for anointments, let me see how many I have. Blood Mage has, let's see, Endless Slaughter. Your creatures attack and cast spells 1 additional time for every 20% health they're missing. So that's 2 bonus corpse explosions right there. And that's all 5 anointments. So the ones I do have again, Endless Slaughter, Even the Odds, Grand Finale, Revelation, and Spell Power. So Endless Slaughter gives you more spell casts for missing health, like that 50% that creatures resurrect at on your side. Even the Odds, if you absolutely feel you have to fine tune and just get things ready for boss fights, you can take Even the Odds out. It will lower everybody by 20%, even in a boss fight. But again, there's plenty of great anointments out there, and I love that mechanic. I've not seen anything like it. And then, and then Grand Finale, that's a new specialization, Engineer, based on bomb usage. Very fun. Haven't quite gotten a team built for it yet, but very much interested. I do have a pretty fun toxicologist build ready to go for a future video. Revelation, that's the one defensive, unless you use spell power for healing, which we don't. It's the one defensive anointment that we got, so that gives your creatures a 30% chance to be resurrected with 50% health. So you can quote me on that. Some of these things you just start to remember as second nature, but shows what happens after you just dedicate 590 hours of your life to something. Ugh. But no regrets here playing Siralim. It's been totally fun. I've been trying to play responsibly, under 2 hours a day. It's starting to happen. Just being able to clear dungeons very quickly with builds like this, and the Corporation. Check out that video if you'd like to see how to build a great Abomination, Sin and Sentence, and Corpse Explosion kind of a team. So that's it for the anointments, and then that's really it for spell gems here. I mean, he might have a chance to take away minions. As you can see, I barely even have that enchanted to even do anything fun with. I might, maybe, let's see, make it so that he will attack, and then there'll be a percent chance to cast this after attacking. Really overkill at this point for an overkill spell, but Desperate Sacrifice, if that does cast at random, then there's a good chance to bring the team back and have them cast even more Corpse Explosions. So, and Desperate Sacrifice is generous here, so I do have a little bit of self-preservation on here. I would be thrilled actually to get some kind of really hyper aggro build going, but I know that I wouldn't last on a boss fight, just the nature of things. I have tried it, and it just hasn't carried me through. I would enjoy completely blasting things out for a turn or two or three, but it would not get me to destroying a single part of a lost god to the point that I could get my foot in with more Corpse Explosions. It might at this point, with just such ridiculous amounts of spell casting right before battle even starts. So I'll tinker around with that in my free time, and if it does get me through to defeat a lost god, then yeah, I'll go ahead and record a video for that. But that's my breakdown here. Relics, 1,000 Needles. I just do not have relics leveled like I would like to, so I got Bloodseeker that just gives them maximum health to survive a little better. Mutatius, really good, boosting intelligence finally at rank 40. NG, 5740 NG, just gives this creature good defense as a designated survivor to go hand in hand with the perk. So if you only have one living creature, it has a 50% chance to avoid damage. So any damage that does come through for the Tanukrook, that will be mitigated by 5740 NG. That will grant defense here, and also good maximum health and defense from many stat boosting effects, and they won't be able to wear him down, or it rather. I do want to welcome any I guess you could say with my age, new gender types that are actually accepted. Welcome. And so that's that for Tanukrook. Again, a defensive build for being the one survivor until things kick in and other creatures come back. Bramble Skin just has extra damage pertaining to damage that the bearer's taken. So just yet another boost of corpse explosion damage in a different way. And this is a fairly hardy creature. After it takes damage, recovers health. I did have Katarina's brace somewhere. That's what I should do, is put that on right here, I think. And then for the relic, what? No relic. Oh my goodness. Yeah, so this was kind of a new team, so let's see what I got. Ass kicker, yeah. Boom. Knock everybody down the timeline. I've been trying to level that up to 50. I don't think it'll be that much of a boost. Yeah. So when the bearer does attack, and that'll be 6 attacks, because of the Death Chimera's trait. Yeah, that'll be 6 more ass kicker attacks, and then that'll give the bearer 15% chances to send the target to the bottom of the timeline, and speed boosts. So not bad. So I'm glad to have a chance to fix things too. I don't always have perfect builds, but let me get Katarina's brace in here. Oh, actually, I don't know if I want that, because that would offset this perk, or this anointment rather, that we discussed, Blood Caked Blade, because if I'm starting at 50%, and let me take a look, see if I can equip that. Alright. Where is Katarina's brace? I hope I got it somewhere. Oh, this one. Anita Day Phobia. Everybody quacks like a duck. I didn't actually hear the sound effect, so I'll revisit it. Stank. Let's see. Yeah, I got some good artifacts. That's what I just took off. Oh my gosh, high risk. So let's see. Yeah, actually, I don't want to heal my team. Let's see what this would say. Your creatures deal 40% more damage and take 10% more damage for each turn they've taken in the current battle. Yeah, let's really go aggro for this next video. I've talked long enough. It's tough to upload videos past a certain point of length anyway. So that was my new team, and I'm hoping to make it even more nasty and aggro with those 2 tinkers there. Oh, wait a minute. I don't have an artifact here. Oh wait, I do. I'm sorry, that Bramble Skin one for the 5th creature I got. It's very hard to see, so just on my brightness settings. So I do have that. And that's it. Nothing really to cover except that if you run into class sensitive creatures that deal more damage to death creatures, then yes, we might be in for a pounding, but as you're going to see, just nasty, ridiculous amounts of damage, and it's my pleasure to show you very shortly. Thank you.